Hello everyone, Sodsboy here. Deathslinger is a killer that I play frequently, third behind Trickster and Springtrap, and I feel as though most players agree that he is in need of an add-on pass, similar to the likes of Pyramid Head. There are two main reasons to this. First being that Warden's Keys and Tin Oil can dominate the usage rates. Being able to use the Redeemer more often and be less punished for missing simply feels nicer to the player. It's akin to how Wraith players value decloak speed, or how Huntress players value cooldown and wind-up speed of their hatchets. The second reason is even easier. The rest of his add-ons suck, aside from a few exceptions. I want to propose a rework to most add-ons under the following criteria of introducing useful, fun, or interesting effects without compromising on what makes the Deathslinger fun. There are a few I won't be addressing in this video, because they're fine as is. Those are the Warden's Keys, the Tin Oil Can, the Iridescent Coin, and the Rusted Spike. Whilst I could shake everything up by changing the beloved combo of Keys and Can, I'd rather bring other lesser used add-ons up rather than make their effects partially base kit and then nerf the add-on, which leads to the change being an overall nerf. The common add-ons are first on the chopping block. Two are simply weaker versions of the rares, one is a meme and the other does virtually nothing. Snake Oil is up first and is our blindness add-on. Through breaking the chain or hitting a speared survivor, they'll become blinded for 60 seconds. It seems fitting enough that the add-on based on fake marketing from salesmen of the time should blindside the survivors. Blindness can in some cases prove useful in denying information, especially in chase considering how frequent windows of opportunity is brought by survivors. Rickety Chain's the meme add-on. I despise meme add-ons from a gameplay perspective. Making one of your two add-on slots an active detriment to bring is just poor design. Nobody in their right mind has ever gone about using Rickety Chains willingly, other than to challenge or infuriate themselves. My suggestion is that we utilize the often forgotten status effect, Deafened, that's only on one other add-on, the Disfigured Ear for Hag. It seems fitting to use on the character wielding a gun. Upon firing the Redeemer, survivors within an 18-meter radius are deafened for 10 seconds. Survivors speared are deafened until they're off the chain, either through breaking it or being hit, and for 10 seconds afterwards. For those who don't know what deafen does, it muffles noises for the survivor, making footsteps and audio cues more difficult to hear. I've kept the range in line with the Redeemer's chain to also offer knowledge to survivors about whether they're in danger. Following this, Spit Polish Rag and Modified Ammo Belt are our last two. They're outperformed by their supposedly rare counterparts, so I'm content with changing them completely. Keeping with the aesthetic of the add-on, my new Spit Polish Rag will now reward Deathslinger with an 8% cooldown reduction on basic attacks when hitting a speared survivor. I feel as though 2 tokens of Save the Best for Last is strong enough to be an add-on of its own. Deathslinger used to be a great user of Save the Best for Last back when breaking the chain on the Obsession didn't count for losing tokens, but the rework to Save the Best for Last in 7.5.0 quickly snuffed that synergy. For those wanting the numbers, this brings the wipe animation down to just under 2.5 seconds from 2.7 seconds. There is an argument to be made about this being another knotted rope situation, but the Deathslinger has the stipulation of having to reload after every shot, which balances the upside of recovering quicker from basic attacks. Last of the brown add-ons is the Modified Ammo Belt, and this is going to be my wildcard add-on. Whilst I just said I don't like meme add-ons, this is going to be the one that kind of mixes things up. As Deathslinger, you reel the survivor to you. This add-on flips that interaction. You now reel yourself to the survivor, with their struggling movement shifting the Deathslinger. It becomes the survivor's job to put the Deathslinger in front of an obstacle before he reels himself in. Onto the uncommon add-ons. We're at Chewing Tobacco, which currently is just a weaker cigar. Playing off of the description of it stimulating the nervous system, I'm proposing a 5% haste after hitting a speared survivor that lasts for either 10 seconds or until you reload the Redeemer. Allowing Deathslinger to walk at a normal killer pace for brief moments should assist in shortening up chase lengths, and diminishing returns should prevent absurd haste stacking with this. Jaw Smasher increases your ADS movement by a whopping 1.5%, which is nothing. I'm serious. It is 0.0561 meters per second of additional movement, which barely gets you to 3.8 meters per second. I'm going to take the Smasher name of this add-on and take it literally. The Redeemer's Spear now pierces through breakable walls, Breaking the chain whilst it pierces a breakable wall now breaks the wall at the cost of stunning the Deathslinger for 0.3 seconds longer. Chains of Hate was the update to add breakable walls, and it seems fitting to allow Deathslinger a unique way to interact with them. Marshall's Badges effect is shifting over to Gold Creek Whiskey and is being updated to fit the description of punishing those interfering. Survivors who aren't speared but collide with the chain suffer from 5% hindered for 6 seconds. Survivors in between the speared survivor and the Deathslinger when the chain breaks, but not on hit, suffer a further 5% hinder and refresh the duration. This disincentivizes survivors from coming to the rescue by potentially making them an easier chase. Poison Oak Leaves is becoming the dedicated mend add-on. The time to mend from the Redeemer is going up to 3.5 seconds from 1.5 seconds. I'm fully reworking Barbed Wire, which is why I'm changing Poison Oak Leaves to be this way. It probably won't be used due to the hit and run tactics not being as favourable for Deathslinger as opposed to the other mend killer, the Legion. With that, we're moving along to the rares now with Bayshore's Gold Tooth. We're ditching Reeling Speed entirely for a familiar effect. The Redeemer now tears items from the survivor's hands, depleting 10% of current charges from it. If the chain breaks, the item is dragged back and dropped at the Deathslinger's feet. If the speared survivor is hit, it's dropped normally. There's some synergy with Weave Attunement being able to more strategically place items stolen from survivors, and it is quite on the nose to have the Gold Tooth add-on be the one that allows you to steal. The charge decrease is there to be an additional benefit, potentially denying a survivor a self-heal with a medkit. Honey Locust Thorns is contender for most pointless add-on. Mangled in general is weak, but currently it's better applied through Rusted Spike. My change to it may be potentially annoying, but also fitting for what Caleb was intending with it. Speared survivors who break the chain suffer from a 7% hinder for 5 seconds. This is to alleviate distance gained by survivors who successfully manage to stun the Deathslinger, and has synergies with other add-ons that I've proposed earlier. With the Deathslinger being a bounty hunter, I'm surprised Behavior never gave him an add-on that incorporates the obsession mechanic. So that's what we're making Wanted Poster into. Your obsession becomes a bounty of sorts. You earn 100% more blood points for the reeled in scored event, and you reel the obsession 20% faster. Downing the obsession through the Redeemer switches the obsession to another random survivor, allowing you to bounce your bounty target around. We're getting to the good stuff now. The very rares are ones that I'm changing significantly, as I believe these, as well as the iridescence, should be add-ons that change large aspects of your power. Barbed Wire takes what my version of Marshall's Badge does and cranks it up. Instead of hinder, survivors who body block the chain will now take a health state once it breaks. Injured survivors who do this will be afflicted with their own deep wound, and those in deep wound will go down. This would also be an add-on that visually changes the chain to indicate its increased brutality, with sharp barbs and points wrapped around the chain. Bayshore Cigar is going to unfortunately be the one add-on I nerf here, from 0.75 seconds to 0.5 seconds. With a lot of my add-on changes surrounding the chain break-in, I want there to still be that choice of letting it break or cancelling it manually, as well as still rewarding survivors who are able to snag on the geometry and force the chain to break, stunning the Deathslinger. Gold Creek Whiskey, as mentioned earlier, is becoming our undetectable add-on, granting you 12 meters of reduction in your terror radius whilst aiming, and also causing you to become undetectable after spearing a survivor and for 20 seconds after they're freed from the chain. The duration is long enough to make use of in chase and to potentially surprise another survivor nearby, but it's not too long that you're spending most of the match undetectable. The last purple to go over is Prison Chain, and this is going to be my most divisive rework. I'm changing how the Redeemer's projectile works. Instead of a straight line, it now gains the ability to arc over obstacles whilst traveling slower. It also no longer retracts once reaching max range, only doing so upon hitting a wall, obstacle, floor, or spearing a survivor. I'm designing this to be somewhat of a middle ground between Springtrap's Axe and Unknown's UVX in terms of the arc. This change opens and closes a lot of skill-expressive shots that the Deathslinger can achieve. I'm still keeping the 10% chain durability as a cherry on top, and to account for the need to steal real survivors in before hitting them. Finally, the only iridescent that there is to cover. The Hellshire Iron. Obviously, we're moving the undetectable off of it and onto the whiskey, so that begs the question of what have I done to it? Well, you know how the Enforcer class in 2v8 has that mark? My idea is to take inspiration from it. You apply a brand to speared survivors when you hit them. Down in Survivors with a brand adds a token to the add-on. For each token, up to a maximum of 5, the Redeemer fires 2 meters further, the chain gains 10% more durability, and the Deathslinger gains a 2-meter lullaby on top of his terror radius. This achieves something that I've always wanted to add to Deathslinger: more range. 18 meters is nice, but why settle for that? The idea is to have a max of 5 tokens, so doing the math gives you a 28-meter long chain, 50% additional chain durability, and a 42-meter lullaby. Let me clarify, the lullaby is constant, and you do not benefit fully from undetectable, meaning if you go undetectable, you're still going to have that 42-meter lullaby with you at all times, similar to how Hunters can benefit off of undetectable, and similar to how Trickster can as well. If you think this is too game-altering, good. That's the idea. The buffs given also synergize with other add-ons. You can bring the coin to expose from further away, the newly changed barbed wire to punish body blocks, wanted poster to reel the obsession in faster from further away, or even the modified ammo belt for the absurdly funny image of grapple hooking your way towards a survivor, like some diet version of Kaneki. Overall, these add-on changes would offer a lot more to Deathslinger than what he currently has. Would this take him up in the tier list? I doubt it, but it would certainly offer more to those who enjoy Deathslinger both playing as and against. You're more than welcome to leave criticism in the comments, suggest your own changes, or ask for more details. I've tried to supply enough visuals to give an idea as to what the add-ons would look like in practice. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. This has been something that I've been wanting to work on for a while, and I think it was better just to get the idea out of my head and onto a video. So, until next time, bye-bye!